It's 12 o'clock, and here's the media news. First, the top stories. Amusun asked presidency to declare MKO Abiola winner of June 12, 1993 poll. Oshibajo blames delay in 2017 budget bill on alterations by the National Assembly. Jega calls for more reforms to make electoral process more credible. Boko Haram fighters arrested in Auchi, Edo State. Zimbabwe bans grain import a year after starvation due to drought. Trump's travel ban suffers another setback in court. I am Tobi Joseph, bringing you the news in details shortly. Governor Bukila Muson of Ogun State has asked the presidency to formally declare late Bashir Moshood Kashimawo Abiola as the winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential poll. The result of the poll were cancelled by the Babangida military regime. Amoso, speaking after leading the democracy walk through the major roads in Abeokuta to mark the 24th anniversary of the poll result annulment, says that Abiola was elected by Nigerians as their president but not allowed to govern the country. Abiola's sacrifice for Nigerian democracy, according to Amoso, must be recognized by all Nigerians and that politicians must allow to be dogged and follow his steps to unite the nation.
It was it was everybody united on one purpose, irrespective of our religion, our belief, where we come from. My position is that MK Abiola must be recognized as the first is the winner, is the president. He was elected president. I think it will be good for his memory that we all recognize that MK Abiola won that election and that he is the president that was elected that was denied the opportunity.
In her goodwill message, a human rights activist Dr. Joe K. Odumake says the June 12 poll results will continue to promote national integrity, love, and unity among Nigerians. She also asked the federal government to declare Abiola as the winner of the June 12, 1993 poll. In his sermon, Alhaji Abdul Wakil Akiwushola asked politicians to die for the good cause and leave good legacies that will make Nigerians to remember them. The democracy walk, led by Amuson, started from the June 12 Cultural Center, Kuto in Abeokuta, and ended at the family house of late Abiola at Okedo in Bagura. A professor of surgery, Professor Adedayo Oluyomi Tade, will today, June 13, deliver the 75th inaugural lecture at the Labison Obanjo University at Gorwe, Ogun State. The lecture, titled Surgery of Human Gut, Restoring the Feedmill of Life and much more, will take place at the OGD Lecture Theatre Hall of the institution's main campus at Gorwe by 2 p.m. The lecture will be chaired by the institution's Vice Chancellor, Professor Ganiu Olatunde. Guests are expected to be seated by 1:30 p.m. All inquiries are to be directed to the institution's chairman, Academic Ceremonies, Professor Mrs. Edwin Oduwole. The Department of State Services, or DSS, says its operatives have arrested 3 suspected associates of a notorious kidnap kingpin, Tewashe Akwasa, alias Ghana, who is on the wanted list of the police for killing several people and destroying property in Benue. The agency, in a statement by its spokesman, Mr. Tony Opoyo, says the suspects Dondo Osa, Tehile Mbaloha, and Terima Ihambe were arrested on June 9 at various locations in Katsina Ala local government area of Benue State. Opoyo said one AK-47 rifle, a 9mm pistol, ammunition, and complete set of army uniform were recovered from Osa. In a related development, Opoyo said that on April 10, Tena Sako, an informant to the Akwasa syndicate, was arrested around the army barracks in Takum in Taraba. According to Opoyo, the service also arrested 15 kidnapped suspects led by a dismissed soldier, Lance Corporal Samaya Madu, last June 9 at Aviele in Edo State. He said that the DSS had military in a joint operation last May 11 at the Kano State stretch of the Falgore Forest, arrested 5 suspected kidnappers and cattle rustlers. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo has blamed the delay in signing the 2017 appropriation bill into law on the changes introduced by the National Assembly into the original bill submitted to them. Osinbajo signed the bill 24 days later after receiving it from the National Assembly, says the presidency regards the changes introduced into the bill by the National Assembly as fundamental. According to him, the changes by the National Assembly affect some of the fundamental projects, including the Mambila hydroelectric power plant, the railway project, and the Legacy Battle Expressway reconstruction. He added that the changes will make the implementation of the bill impossible in some cases. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo, however, says that after consultations between the Presidency and the National Assembly, it was resolved that the variants be sent to the National Assembly to correct the alterations in the original bill. Former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), Professor Tayo Jega, has called for more reforms in the electoral process to make polls conducted in Nigeria more credible. Jega will make the call in Kano at a public lecture, listed the proposed reforms to include autonomy and appointment of the INEC chairman. The former INEC chairman admits that the INEC now enjoys relative autonomy as it funds and lodged in the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) for its total control. He recalls one of the recommendations of the Ways Electoral Reform Panel that INEC should be allowed to appoint its chairman and commissioners, which was rejected by the presidency. Jega cites the case of Ghana, where the president appoints chairman of the electoral body who will remain in office until the retirement age of 70 years. Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State has cautioned that Nigeria cannot afford another civil war. The governor warns against all forms of ethnic chauvinism and hate speeches capable of plunging the country into another civil strife. Okowa issued a warning at the Thanksgiving service to mark the second anniversary of the 60th House of Assembly in Asaba. He says there is the need for Nigerians to reflect on the past and build a greater and more united Nigeria, as well as avoiding any act that will cause war. 24 fighters of the Boko Haram sect have been captured by troops in Auchi, Edo State. They were captured by soldiers from the Army School of Engineering near the town following a tip-off. Altaro of Auchi and Alhaji Aliru Momo, who made this known, says the terrorists were relocated to the area, stayed in the forest. The monarch says the terrorists often disguised as Fulani headsmen and have been attacking people in the area, adding that they had forced farmers to stay away from their farms. Recently, Governor Obaseki says the Fulani headsmen terrorizing parts of the state are some of the Boko Haram fighters fleeing the battlefront in the northeast region. The governor then explains that the terrorists are infiltrating Edo State through Kogi State. You're still listening to the Midday News on Rock City 101.9 FM. Up next will be your foreign, business and sport news. Please do stay with us. Zimbabwe has banned grain imports to protect local farmers after producing enough to meet domestic demand just a year after a devastating drought left more than 4 million people in need of food aid. Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Davis Mararapira, said the state grain marketing board will pay $390 per ton for white maize, almost triple the $143 for the September contract for the white maize in South Africa, one of the countries from which Zimbabwe has previously imported maize. The Treasury last week forecast output of the stable maize at 2.1 billion tons this year, from 511,000 tons in 2016. The crisis has been blamed in part on the seizure of white-owned farms, hitting commercial agriculture production. A U.S. appeal court has upheld the decision blocking President Donald Trump's revised travel ban on people from 6 mainly Muslim nations. Ruling on the case brought by the state of Hawaii, the appeal judges found that the executive order violated existing immigration legislation. Attorney General Jeff Sessions said disagreeing with the ruling, says President Trump's executive order is well within his lawful authority to keep the nation safe. The dispute may end up being decided in the U.S. Supreme Court. An earlier version of the travel ban issued by Mr. Trump just days after taking office sparked confusion at airport and protest. In business, MDQ OTC Securities Exchange has reported transactions worth 9.49 trillion naira in fixed income and currency markets for the month of May. The data on the company's market turnover report showed that the turnover was higher when compared with 8.79 trillion naira posted in April. A breakdown of the report indicated that Treasury bills transactions accounted for 40.73% of the total value, while turnover and federal government bonds accounted for 5.23% of the total turnover. According to the report, money market and foreign exchange market activities accounted for 29.13% and 24.88% of the total turnover, respectively. The report added that the value of transactions in the foreign exchange market decreased by 15.03%, or $1.16 billion month on month. It also indicated that the supply of foreign exchange into the market by the Central Bank of Nigeria also dropped by 49.50%, or $1.07 billion, to settle at $0.985 billion in the month under review. Finally, on the media news, sport news. Nigeria's technical advisor, General, has explained that the Super Eagles became nervous and started to make mistakes in their loss to South Africa last weekend. The Super Eagles were beaten 2-0 in Uyo on Saturday in their opening Group E match in the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. The coach believes that the Bafana extra experience played a role in the game, as they decided an ability to convert the scoring chances they created when the game was still locked at 0-0. The Super Eagles returned to competitive action in August and September when they faced a double-header against African champions Cameroon in the 2018 World Cup qualifiers. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) Technical and Development Committee Chairman, Barrister Chris Green, has reflected on the Super Eagles' defeat to South Africa. Green strongly believes that Nigeria will qualify for the 2018 FIFA World Cup and the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations finals, despite the team's defeat to South Africa on Saturday. Nigeria is sitting at the top of the World Cup qualification Group B standings, having accumulated 6 points from 2 matches, with 4 matches left. Losing to South Africa, according to him, was never in the calculation of the Federation. The NFF technical chairman explains that the focus of the Federation for now is the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, because the race to the Cup of Nations will only resume in 9 months' time. That was the media news, and just before we go, the major stories once again. Governor Mosu asked the presidency to declare Abiola winner of the June 12, 1993 elections. Acting President Osinbajo blames delay on the 2017 budget bill on alterations by the National Assembly. Ataru Jega calls for more reforms to make electoral process more credible. Boko Haram fighters arrested in Auchi, Edo State. On the foreign scene, we told you that Zimbabwe has banned grain import a year after starvation due to drought. We also told you that Donald Trump's travel ban in the US has suffered another setback in the court. For more stories and to listen to us live, please log on to our website www.rockcityfmradio.com/live. Thank you so much for listening. I am Tobi Joseph. Good afternoon.